Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. Today I'm doing another product review. This time I'm checking out the new AH1 Turntable from Angels Horn. Special links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. So Angels Horn has been around for a few years now. I've done a couple of the reviews on the channel here, and I've always been impressed with their turntables. I've always thought them to be really good, solid, entry-level turntables for somebody that wants to get into listening to records without spending a lot of money. Typically, their turntables run around $200. I think this one actually costs a little less than that. I'll put links down below in the episode description if you want to go back and check out their website and check out this turntable. So I'll get this thing all unboxed, put together. I'll run a couple of tests on it. I'll listen to a couple of albums, of course, because of copyright laws. I can't play them on the channel here, but I'll listen to a couple of albums and let you know what I think of this turntable. And just like every other review I do on the channel here, I'm always going to give you my honest opinion. I'll give you the pros and cons of what I think of this turntable. And the opinions I say on here are always mine and mine alone. So before I open up the box here, I'm going to go over some of the features that are listed on the box itself here. On the top here, you get just a picture of the turntable itself. Like I said, this is the model AH1. If you want to go on their website and check it out. You got a list of European representatives, British representatives. Then if you get any questions or issues with the turntable itself, there's U.S. support, UK, European, I'm assuming CA stands for Canadian support, and then there's their website there on the side. This is the Angels Horn AH1 Turntable, or record player is what it says on there. So it does have a 24-month warranty. This does have Bluetooth output, which I always recommend not using Bluetooth, even though that is a feature that's available on this turntable and a lot of other entry-level ones, because you lose some sound quality over Bluetooth. So even though it is an option, I don't recommend using it. The cartridge on this is a Audio-Technica 3600L, which is a really good entry-level a cartridge. You're going to get a good, solid, consistent sound quality out of it. I mean, there are better ones on the market, but I've had nothing but decent or good sound experiences with that cartridge itself. And then the one thing I always like on turntables, I've noticed that a lot of them don't have it. A lot of the newer ones don't have it as an option, is pitch control. Once I open this box up and show you the turntable, I love that feature on here, but I'm not a huge fan of where the pitch control is, though. This does come with a really nice quick start guide, and they do have tutorial videos available also. If you have any issues, you can always scan the QR code and go to those videos. Nice clear dust cover. It does have the Angels Horn logo across the top of it. I got the plastic off. You can see the logo a little bit better on that one. I'll go ahead and set that one aside. And it does come with an extra belt. There's your 45 RPM adapter inside with the booklet for the turntable. It does come with the cord if you want to hook this turntable up to your computer to digitize your music. That's also an option that they've got available. And then here's your platter. Comes with a really nice Angels Horn platter mat. And then this is an iron platter. The question I always had about these iron platters when I first started reviewing these turntables is getting any kind of reverberation or vibration through these. And to be honest, of the several that I've reviewed and listened to, I haven't had that experience. So, but if you do have any kind of vibration, you can always use like a rubber platter mat to kind of deaden that. And the one thing I always say when you unbox a turntable, always make sure you go through the styrofoam packaging, because they love to hide. There's the counterweight, and then the power adapter is in the styrofoam also. And before I put the belt on, I always like to give that sub platter a nice spin. Make sure it's nice and free. There's no binding. There's no issues with it before you put the belt on. And I might have said earlier they came with an extra belt. I thought there were two on there, but I guess I was wrong. There's only just the one belt in there. So I'll go ahead and put that around the sub platter here. And then the same thing, once you get the belt on, give it a few spins just to make sure it's seated on there correctly. Then you can go ahead and put the platter on there. And the platter mat. So up to this point, there hasn't been a whole lot that you have to put together. So we'll kind of go over some of the knobs on here. So you got 33 and 45 That's your speed adjustment there. It does have a start and stop button. And then it does have the pitch control up here on the top. And that's the one place, like I said earlier, I love the feature of that. I'm not a big fan of having it right there, though, because it's really easy to bump. It's really easy to turn. So it's having it right there and really accessible. If you're not paying attention, you can turn the pitch off on your turntable. On a lot of turntables, a lot of times it's like a screw hole here on the back that you've got to actually stick like a ceramic screwdriver into to adjust the pitch on there. I think it's a better placement for it, just to kind of keep it out of the way and avoid any accidental pitch changes. But on the back of it, you do have your on-off button, your DC input. There's the input if you want to connect this to your computer. It does have a built-in phono preamp, and then there's your outputs for your speakers. So honestly, the biggest time-consuming part of putting this turntable together is going to be the adjustable counterweight. I always have a hard time kind of getting it dialed in. I did buy a scale from Amazon. I'll show you here in a second. It is available on the Vinyl Den Amazon store. If you want to go pick up one, they're like $10. It's really easy to find. So it's something really easy to help really dial in the weight of the tone arm. So to install the counterweight, what you're going to do is you're going to slide this onto the back of the tone arm here. And what you want to do is you want to get a nice neutral position on the tone arm. You want it to stay nice and balanced, nice and flat off of the cradle, and that's when you're going to adjust your weight after it's in a neutral position. So before I finish getting this tone arm and the counterweight dialed in, this turntable also has anti-skate. I'm not a huge fan of this line and sinker style of anti-skate. I don't think it's as effective as other ways to do it, but what this does is this just hangs over this hook on the backside with the loop of the string tied to this little knob back here on the back of the tone arm. And this is especially hard for someone like me who has big fat fingers. It's kind of hard to really maneuver it on there and get it where it needs to be. And for anyone that's new to turntables with anti-skate on there, the tone arm naturally wants to skate across the turntable. So what anti-skate does is it applies just some slight outward pressure to keep the stylus and the tone arm where it should be. And this was the scale I was talking about earlier. It's available on Amazon. Like I said, they're like 10 or 12 bucks. But it's a good way, because I don't always trust the counterweight or the measurements on the counterweight on these turntables. Even with my Fluence, I've got a Fluence RT85. I still use this to dial in what the downforce or should be on this tone arm. So the recommended downforce for the Audio-Technica 3600L is 3.5 grams plus or minus a half gram. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my scale on here, and we'll see if I can get this thing really dialed in. It looks like I'm just a hair heavy with it. So I'll try to get this thing really dialed in. There we go. I got a perfect 3.5 grams. So now that I've got it all fully assembled, I'm going to go ahead and do a speed test. I'll plug this thing in, turn it on, and use a speed tester to see how consistent the overall speed is of this turntable. So whenever you test the speed on a turntable, you really want to have it tested. The phone or the device, the speed testing device, needs to be right over the middle of the platter to get a true measurement of the speed. So what I did was I took a piece of styrofoam here and cut out the middle of it so there's no drag on the spindle itself. I'll go ahead and set this over the spindle, put my phone on there, and I'll test it and see what the speed is. It should be really close to 33 1/3. So I'm going to use my handy little RPM app here. I'll go ahead and set it on here. Turn this thing on. And let's see what it spins at. Hit cancel there. So it's actually pretty slow. I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but it's 32.84. So we're going to try to adjust the speed using this pitch knob here. And then I'll go ahead and test it again and see how close we can get it. I see it's going to take a couple of times to really get this dialed in. It's a little closer with that one. We're getting closer. It's 33.54 right now. Alright, after a couple adjustments, I got it pretty close. It's 33 0.31 right now. As you can see, it was quite a bit to really get that adjusted properly. Just the slightest little adjustment on that knob changed it quite a bit speed-wise. So that's why I said having that knob right there, right next to where your hand is with the tone arm, it's really easy to hit that knob and knock the speed off. All right, so now that the counterweight is all set, the speed is right on this turntable, I'll go ahead and play a couple of albums and let you know what I think of the overall sound quality of this thing. One thing I almost forgot, whenever you set up a new turntable, most of the turntables come with these little protractor guides. I always like to use this to make sure that cartridge is perfectly aligned, because I've gotten turntables before where it was just off by a hair and it really impacts the sound quality of the turntable. All right, and after looking at it, it looks perfectly aligned. So I'll go ahead and toss an album on here, spin it, and let you know what I think of it. First album I'm going to spin and listen to is John Mellencamp's American Fool. I am using Edifer bookshelf speakers, so it's a nice, good quality speaker. Same thing, you can pick these up off of Amazon for like $75. I did skip a little further into the album just to see how smooth that the lever worked on the tone arm, to see how well or how good of a job it did really perfectly placing the tone arm down. It's a really nice smooth lever on there. I wish the tone arm was maybe a tad heavier. It is a little light, but for this turntable for under $200, I think this is a really good setup. And then the second album I'm going to try, something with a little bass. I always like using this album to test out turntables, but The Chronic by Dr. Dre. All right, after giving it a couple of spins, I kind of come back to the same conclusion I had earlier. Really good, really solid turntable. This is something I think is a good entry point into listening to records. I just have a couple of issues with how the setup, the overall functionality of this turntable. So overall, this turntable performed about what I expected it to be. I had good sound. I got good speed out of it. I had a couple of issues with it, though. Like I said earlier in the video, that pitch control, having that pitch knob so close to the tone arm and not having it on the back side of the turntable is kind of an issue for me, because just moving that tone arm up and down, my hand kind of brushed against that knob a couple of times, and while it didn't affect the play, a couple more times, or if I hit it hard enough, it would definitely impact the speed of this turntable. And I guess that was really my only big concern. I do have some other little minor stuff. I'd love to see adjustable feet on a turntable like this. Really, on any turntable, I want to have adjustable feet, because the surface that you're putting your turntable on, you want the turntable to be nice and level, and sometimes it's not, so you need to make minor adjustments to make sure that it stays nice and level. So adjustable feet, I'd love to see a different style of anti-skate on there. Like I said earlier, the weight in line really seems ineffective. I shouldn't say ineffective. It's not as consistent as an anti-skate method as it really could be. And then lastly, making a little bit heavier of a tone arm on this turntable. So like I said, some of that stuff might be kind of nitpicky. Really, the only one big issue I had was that pitch adjustment knob. So if you're somebody looking to get into listening to records and don't want to break the bank on a turntable, I think this is a good option for you. This is definitely a step up from those Crosley suitcase players or those like Victrola all-in-one turntables that are like $100 at your local store. Yes, this is going to be a little bit more money. I think suggested retail price on this is $200, but if you go on Angels Horn's website, I want to say they've got it for $170 right now. I think it's $170 on Amazon also. This is a good entry point turntable for you. This is definitely something you can upgrade. Having an adjustable counterweight on there, you could definitely upgrade the stylus if you want to later on down the line. And you're not breaking the bank for $200 for a turntable. Whether if you want to move up eventually and get like spend a couple of $100 more and get like a Fluence or something like that, you can do that later on down the line. But at least get your feet wet with a turntable like this. So hopefully down the line, when Angels Horn upgrades this product, maybe they'll do a couple of those adjustments. Like I said, put that pitch control on the backside of the turntable on the backside of the plinth there, and make a couple of little minor adjustments. I think this would be a really great product. Well, that's all you got for today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. Make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this turntable. Have you used any Angels Horns turntables? Like I said, I've done I've done a couple of reviews of them on this channel, and I've been impressed with all of them so far. Yes, I tend to have one or two little small issues with it, but nothing big that make me stop and not want to buy the turntable. Same thing with this one, but let me know what you guys think. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to give me a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.